Stop hoping for your business to grow and start mastering the formula for success that every entrepreneur needs to grow their business. Join us for 5+1 Mastery, where every week we go in depth on how to grow your business the right way. Learn more at 5+1mastery.com.
So Viktor Frankl says in between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space lies our freedom to choose, and in that choice is our power.
I'm your host, Chaz Wilson. I bring you successful entrepreneurs, add valuable wisdom to your journey, and help you succeed. Welcome to Connect, Share, and Prosper.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Connect, Share, Prosper. I'm your host, Chaz Wilson, founder of Master Networks, and this is episode 110, and we are going to get right after it today. Hey, in the comments when you get here, let me know you are here and where you're watching from. Make sure you tag friends and share, because we've got a really important topic today for our live broadcast. And today, it's interesting. I'm not in the studio today, as you can see with my backdrop. I'll show you here. I've got my American flag behind me up on my wall. I am in my home studio. So who knows what could happen today, right? I know they're building a house right next door, and the cement truck just pulled up about a minute ago, so it could get loud. I got kids homeschooling today. So, it's going to be interesting today. Victoria says, happy Monday. Bill from Central Illinois says, hello. Guys, welcome. We are going to jump into this episode of Connect, Share, Prosper. Let me introduce my guest, and then I will bring him on. Today, we have Dr. Nima Rahmany, who's both a chiropractor and an educator, specializing in helping individuals and professionals. Get this, guys. He gets to the root cause of their physical and emotional challenges, from stress, depressed, and anxious, to living powerfully aligned and on purpose. Now, after building a successful chiropractic practice, Dr. Nima sold his clinic in 2016 to pursue his passion of teaching and coaching professionals who are stressed, depressed, and anxious to transform and have their best year ever. Guys, if this isn't a timely and timeless message, I don't know what is. Dr. Nima has integrated all the mind-body tools in his quest for healing stress-related disorders into one simple-to-follow method called the Overview Method, which we'll talk about today, which is the adjustment above Atlas that he teaches one-on-one and in groups all over the world in his engaging and edutaining lectures filled with inspired authenticity and entertainment. Boy, we are getting the people hopping on here and sharing it today. Let me welcome to the podcast episode 110 of Connect, Share, Prosper. Welcome, Dr. Nima. Welcome.
Namaste, brother. It's great to be here chatting with your peeps.
Yeah, thank you for being with us today. So, by the way, I love the chiropractic industry. I have lots of friends. I have family who are in chiropractic. I'm speaking at a chiropractic summit next week. So,
is it with Parker?
It is not. There's a doctor that's out in Oregon putting it on, and he's got several thousand chiropractors that are on a live summit next week. So I think I'm the only non-chiropractic speaker, but anyway, that's not about me. So giving context about this. So boy, we're already getting the post today. Sarah says, needing this info today. Can't wait.
You bet.
So first of all, let's start kind of at the beginning for a second. Why and how did you get involved in chiropractic? Why was that the start, the direction you went?
I had headaches when I was a kid, and I would go to, I don't know what it was. I would go to the doctor and I'd be like, all right, take these. And I'm like, there's got to be something more. There's got to be a root cause. And by taking this, because I always knew I wanted to take care of people. And so naturally, being Persian, they're like, oh, you got to be a doctor. But then when I was looking at it, it's true. And so when I would go, I'd be like, there's something missing. And when I had my first chiropractic adjustment at the age of 13, I got up off the table. I was like, oh my God, he went to the root of why it was there. It was like, what's the point in dealing with the external end result of something? Why not just go upstream and get to the root? And so I was like, this is it. Chiropractic is how to get to root cause of most problems. So that's why I was 13, graduated at 20, finished all of my education, graduated at 25, and I was on this really inspired path to do that.
So you're in this chiropractic practice, you get going, but you make a move, you sell it, and you get into this kind of newfound passion of that. Tell us about that transition and what you're doing.
Well, here you are thinking that you have the answer to people's issues, health issues, digestive, chronic pains. And I would notice that some patients would get better and others just would always stay kind of like, we could only go so far. And my ego didn't like that. This is purely out of my ego.
Yes.
I was like, look, why is it that I want to feel confident when somebody comes to me? I want to feel confident that I can solve their issue. And if I can with chiropractic, great. But what's with the patterns of people who don't? And I would notice, because I'm a very intuitive person, just talking to them, I would notice that the people that wouldn't get better are the ones who are stuck in resentments, grievances. There was a breakdown of some sort that they haven't really gone over, and they're still, even though it was 10 years ago, they're still a victim to the history. And I noticed that those people, pattern-wise, I would get a sense, oh, this person's going to get better even before we start. This person, they're a victim to their history. We're going to have limited results. So I had this voice in my head that I needed to teach this. But in a 3-minute visit, 5-minute visit, 10-minute visit, whatever it took to adjust you, I didn't really have the time. So I thought to myself, okay, something's got to give. I have this voice inside that needs to say something, but I don't have the time. So I started developing this sense of depression and anxiety when I was at work, because it's that feeling like, oh God, like I got to go in there and talk about, back pain problems when I know that I really want to be going deeper. And so
it's interesting that you'd made that connection.
Oh yeah.
That thing was happening. And you were also self-aware to know that this was a challenge you knew you needed to approach. We'll come back to that.
The anxiety inside of me was the thing that was telling me, Chaz. I was like, I have to, this thing, it does not, it's just, I know too much. If you have anxiety is a fracture within yourself. I discovered it's a spiritual, it's a soul. I don't want to talk about religion right now. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about anytime you're incongruent with who your true voice is, your body will start to give you anxiety as a call to action to get back into something that's true, to get real. Because when you're truly, completely living authentically, like your voice is your true voice, there's no anxiety. There's no, I feel, like if I just got married, last month, and if I started having an affair and I came home and I saw my wife, I would start to feel anxiety. The anxiety is not a disorder. It's actually telling me. And so I knew what that was, and I ignored it until I lost a patient because of, she was doing amazing. She came in for her back, but she had a long story of history of victimhood and suffering and a list of all other health problems. And we were doing so well just talking about her back. And then all of a sudden, she doesn't show up for an appointment one day. We call her and we go, Gwen, what's going on? And her husband answered and said, Gwen died of a heart attack this morning.
Oh my goodness.
And at that moment I was like, all right, this was the wake up call. COVID-19 pandemic. It's uncomfortable, but it's a wake up call. It's like, all right, it's time to get real. So that was the moment. It was 10 years ago. I started to create a 3-hour workshop in my office called Life Skills for a Stressful World.
Wow.
It was free. And I was like, look, if you're going to heal, you're going to have to come in and you're going to have to learn about, where health comes from. I want you to learn about, your traumas, all of the stresses, all of the grievances, all of the stuff that you don't really want to talk about, that you've buried, you've put inside, all those feelings, that thing that happened with your child, you've been putting it aside, the thing you're not speaking up about, it's actually impacting your health, not only your health. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let's dig on this just for a second, but I want to go back to something, and we've got a lot of people making comments here. Ashley, she says, so true. Anxiety Annie, she says here. Anxiety Annie here.
Yeah.
Talk about this. Ken, welcome to the show. A lot of people hopping on, but I want to.
Sure.
I don't want to miss something you just said. You went
perfect
past. Okay, you said this was about 10 years ago, and there's something interesting about this, because if you think about economically, about 10 years ago, we were in a really tough spot economically across the country, right? An interesting time, interesting connection. That's when I launched the business I have right now too. It came out of this. So guys, for those of you who are also anxious and depressed right now, and we're going to see this with unemployment rising and all of these things,
it's getting worse.
Understand that there are a lot of people that then have to get congruent and authentic to, maybe you've been doing something you're not, and all of a sudden you go, okay, now I'm going to launch right now. So understand that sometimes the mess that you're in becomes the message, and you're able to come out of that and launch something new. So I just thought it was interesting that your timing was near the same time. So
interesting, because I tell people your mess is your message all the time, right? And so I started creating these 3-hour workshops for my clients, for my clients, my patients coming in, and I did it for free because I just wanted them to learn. And then I started feeling resentful, so I started charging a little bit for it, like $5, $20, because they would get so much value out of that, and they would start getting better. The patients that came to those workshops started getting better, and the ones that didn't would stay. Like it's weird. Why is it that? It's like, awareness is the healer. My job is not to be their healer. My job is to be their guide to themselves being their own healers, right? Yes. And so slowly, if I could just kind of like fast forward this, Chaz, to make a long story short, that was 10 years ago. Today, over time, I phased out of that, and I now lead a global community of self-healers where I teach them the tools in how to heal their past traumas. We do one-on-ones. We do live workshops when we had them before COVID-19, and whenever we have them again, where we teach them the modalities of healing their nervous systems, from the cognitive, changing the stories of all of their past traumas, but not only that, to creating a feeling of safety in their bodies that was taken away or lost because of those traumas. And so by combining the two, the top-down cognitive approach and the body-based, somatic-based healing, that state of alarm and lack of safety within the body, the two together heal anxiety, transform relationships. The biggest shift that you'll see is in all of your relationships, because you've now shifted the relationship within yourself. Your courage goes up. You have the courage to start businesses. You heal relationships, and you're able to become what I call trigger proof. Trigger proof is not trigger less, but you're able to manage when you get activated.
So we'll dive deep into some of that stuff as well. Guys, if you have questions for Dr. Nima, make sure you put them in the comments, and we will make sure that we get those answered. So it's interesting that you have shown, or you're saying that really self-discovery and self-awareness, you said self-healing, but it has to start with sort of a self-awareness and a self-discovery for themselves, which is really, I think, the highest level of personal growth, coaching, whatever those things are. It's not me telling you, it's you telling yourself and discovering, right?
Yes.
And so I love that that's the model you're taking people through, and taking that down. So Ashley says trigger proof. He's so on it. I appreciate that, Ashley. So what could somebody write? I mean, look, this is a terrible time for many people, right? Some people, I love that we said the other night, we're all in the same storm, just not all in the same boat, right? And what if my boat is taken on water? My neighbor's boat next to me isn't, but my boat's taken on water, and I'm struggling right now. What are some simple things I could do, potentially, just some tactical things, again, without giving away the farm here, but what are some things I could do?
No, I'm happy to give away the farm, Chaz. This is what I do. I started a Facebook group called Trigger Proof, where I'm literally giving away the farm. Yeah. The most important thing that we need to focus on right now, number one, beyond anything, it's like when there's a plane going down. What do you do? And the oxygen mask comes on. We have to learn how to put the oxygen mask on ourselves. And the oxygen mask we put on is self-regulation of the nervous system, is your ability to take whatever's around you, and instead of becoming reactive, to learn how to expand that space between stimulus and response. So Viktor Frankl says in between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space lies our freedom to choose. And in that choice is our power. Most of us, because of our past traumas, the stimulus literally becomes the reaction. There's no response. To become response able, we have to become responsible. take responsibility for whatever triggers us. Make a list, actually drop it into sensation and feeling, and actually feel it. Well, even if that's scared, okay. What we do normally, trigger proof doesn't mean to not have feelings. It means to actually feel them fully and let them move through your body, rather than do everything we can, like work, distract, eat, sedate,
Right.
so that all that we could just not have to feel these things that are uncomfortable. Whereas these things are merely things that you used to experience as a child that you haven't yet reconnected with. And so it's important to take time each and every day, especially during these times, to identify what those feelings are and where they come from. You know, this COVID-19 thing, Chaz, for you, might not be about COVID-19. It might be, like in my case, about when we first moved to Iran to Canada from Iran when I was 4 years old. And my body still remembers the shock and the trauma of it. So now that there's a global, and there was a war that I was kind of born into. And so, like, this whole thing, as I noticed my anxiety coming up about this whole COVID pandemic thing,
Right.
instead of trying to control everything, which is what I'm trying to do, which I notice my habits my body is trying to get me to do, I stop, I pause, become self-aware, and then talk to that younger part of me, and to relax and ease that background noise that's actually this whole COVID thing is about. And we all have it. You know, if you can even just write that down in the comment section. The group is called Trigger Proof. How to regulate stress and nervous.
I think Andriana has the link she added right here. I mean, it's not showing up as Trigger Proof, but that's the Facebook.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, that's since I spoke to Andriana, there's a new group. I think there's a different one. Yeah, just search Trigger. You can just take that one down. It's called Trigger Proof: How to Regulate Stress and Strengthen Immunity During a Global Crisis.
Awesome.
So I started that like 8 weeks ago. So I spoke to Andriana.
So very timely.
Yeah. I started that group right away because I was like, okay, I have to teach everybody right now the most important thing, because this was your question, Chaz. What do we do right now? What we do is we stop trying to do, and we just sit with what's feeling inside, and just to get connected with it, because we're trying to try to distract ourselves from those feelings, and that's not helping us. It's not helping us at all, because we act out of fear rather than out of love. Yes.
So there's a stillness that needs to happen
before we do.
Yes.
Like, let me give you an example. Before I got on this call, okay, with you, Chaz, I was like, oh, I'm going to be interviewed by Chaz. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to do like a 45-minute meditation just to get connected with how I'm feeling before I come and talk to you. Oh, there's a little bit of stress. I had Mother's Day over the weekend, and yeah, my mother triggered me a little bit. There was a moment she made a little comment about, I put on a little bit of weight. I didn't like that very much, and I went back into an old wound instantly, right? And I kind of got a little bit minuscule reactive toward it and left it, and it wasn't an amazing departure. And I kind of felt some guilt about that right after Mother's Day. I had guilt. So it's all of my childhood stuff just coming up. And I took a moment before getting on a call with you to get into my breath, to get into my body, to become intentional, and to see what came up. And I was like, ooh, I'm still holding on to that guilt. And then I had a chance to connect and commune with that younger part of me who's always going to have guilt towards his mother.
Wow.
And I filled the cracks in the floorboard. And now coming on and having this conversation with you, I'm fully resourced. I feel I don't have to impress. I can just be with the moment with you and contribute, because I've took responsibility for what I was going on inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So there's something that's interesting, and I'm going to get to Sarah's comment here in a second, because she put a comment up here. I can relate to this idea of stillness. In fact, I know you were talking about potentially religion or whatever, but there was this great scripture that said, "Be still and know that I am God." And I remember as a young kid, like especially stressful times. And so you remember you remember the old like Franklin Covey planners? I don't know, 15, 18 years ago, like,
Sure.
before all the, Bluetooths or the cell phones, smartphones. So I used to carry one of those. And so every day I would have my planner and I would open it up. And some people have heard me tell this story because I wanted that reminder. So I wrote that verse on the front cover page inside.
Beautiful.
And it said, "Be still and know that I'm God." Well, it was just for me, it was a reminder. Well, if you remember the Franklin Covey planners, they used to have those little slide inserts where you could put like your license and your credit cards. You just carried your life in there, right? And I remember one time going to the bank to a teller, and I'm withdrawing some cash or whatever, and she says, "Can I see your license?" And I just unzip it and I turn it around and I slide it across the counter. And if you can visualize from her perspective, she sees on the one side my license, and on the other side it says like a note, "Be still and know that I am God." So she looked at me. She's like, "Are you gonna
rob this bank right now? Or you're God? What? You want my money?"
Right. And it's but I love that as a basis to say, look, be still. There are powers outside of you that also, are looking after you and helping you and all these things. And just to acknowledge that, peace and meditate, as Ken Walls says, meditate that. But let me bring up Sarah's comment. She says,
but here's the thing, before I'd love to hear Sarah's comment, but before, in order to be still and know that I'm God, there's a step before that. Right? We all can say that, but there's a missing piece that we all miss in all personal development, spirituality is in order to be still, I must first be in my body to know that I'm not still. And I go, oh, geez.
An awareness. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. That's the first step. And then once I put my hand, this is my suggestion to you, put your hand on your chest to get into sensation. That activates your parasympathetic nervous system when you get into sensation. How else do you do it? Smelling essential oils. Like I have like this essential oil thing sometimes, especially during COVID and between clients, and sometimes when things get stressful, I get into my body first, see that I'm not still, and then be still. If you can do that one thing, you've changed the game. And again and again and again, that's really what it is a body-based thing. Just wanted to put that in. Let's hear from Sarah.
Yeah, Melissa says retrain the brain.
That's what it is.
Sarah says, I'm continually amazed when I analyze my reactions and discover they stem from things from my childhood. And many of the thoughts aren't true and I need to let them go.
Totally. So check this out. You nailed it, Sarah. It's not about the thoughts, because many of the things that are coming up, many of the things that come up for you, Sarah, when you get triggered, happen before you even had conscious thought, before you were pre-verbal. So in other words, you didn't have language. Okay, think about that.
So that's heavy, considering how, maybe what age we are now or whatever, like all of this, right?
What I'm saying is between the age, like in our early childhood, even from our birth trauma, we carry that stress in our body. Okay. And we don't know that it's there. How do we know it's there? Through our relationships, through our triggers. Our triggers are nervous system activations that are like going into, like looking at a fossil and looking into our history.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's information. If all of a sudden Chaz is talking to me right now, and then I say something to piss him off, and then he raises his voice just a little bit, my body is likely going to go like this. Why? Because maybe I will remember that my father raised his voice at me. And it's not like I'm choosing, oh, I'm in danger. Chaz just raised his voice. It's not a thought. There's no thinking involved. It's all in my unconscious mind. It's all, my body is my unconscious. So Chaz raises his voice at me just 2 or 3 decibels. I start going like this. Oh crap, I'm not safe. Then after that comes first, and then the thought, I'm not safe, I'm not lovable. So trauma is a body-based thing that we're called on to reconnect with and reparent and resource and regulate ourselves. And if we don't do that, we get into relationships getting triggered, and then we'll leave a relationship going, that person wasn't the right person for me, and go and restart a brand new relationship with somebody else with the exact same patterns. You go into the same codependent cycles again and again and again, and it's all because of these primary attachment wounds. So Sarah, you nailed it. You 100%. Every trigger, you think that you're in control. But in fact, without really carefully examining, these old triggers, these old traumas, these old complexes with our primary caregivers are really the things that are in control.
And would you say that continuing to go back and adding blame, like you said, to that, or I'm the victim, isn't helping you progress? Like it's not a matter of going back and saying, why did this happen to me? And this person, I'm upset with that it did. It's more about moving forward, or right? Because you can't fix that right now, right?
100%. Now, here's the interesting conversation you bring up, is that many people are like, look, Chaz, your crap is in the past. It's in the past. Don't bother even worrying about it. So there's one camp. Don't think about it. Move forward. It's in the past. That's option number one. To that, I say, yes, you can cognitively and decide that you do in your cognitive brain, but your child mind is still there. Okay, you are literally carrying your past with you unconsciously. You have no control over it. Whenever you get triggered, your child mind gets activated. Okay, this is what sabotages you. Whenever you think oh my gosh, I'm going to get a new job, I'm going to start a business, then that child mind says, but you're not worthy of it.
Right.
Okay, so leave it behind you. I can't. It's following me around. That's option number one. Option number two is to go to a counselor or a shrink or a psychologist and endlessly freaking talk about it, and talk about how poor you. Oh my gosh, this is traditionally my experience, and I'm going to trigger a bunch of psychotherapists here and counselors and stuff, and that's okay. Hopefully you've evolved from what they've taught you in school, and you've realized that it's really not in your hands, that it's the person's involved. But oftentimes the counselor or psychotherapist will keep you stuck in that story. Hey, Chaz, come 3 years, tell me about how horrible your mother was to you. Right. Oh, poor you. Your mother was a narcissist. And then I'll throw labels. And then you're like, that's right. My mother was a narcissist. And that feels good for a moment. But then you go back to your daily life and you haven't progressed. You're stuck in that story. Why? Here's the thing. You're still in your child mind. You haven't integrated your child mind, your subconscious, your wounded younger self, the traumas from the past, with your adult mind. You haven't integrated and had a sense of understanding of yourself, understanding of the other person, understanding of all of that, self-regulation. You just want mommy to finally see you. You just want daddy to finally see you. And because they don't, you're going to then transfer it over to a counselor or a psychologist or a psychotherapist or a doctor, and then they will constantly see you and validate you. And that whole system, you're stuck in that loop, which doctors and psychotherapists, and they need you, you need them. It's a codependency going on with the two of them. And that's not helping anyone except the doctors, and this, you know what I mean? So that's going to piss off a lot of people. So that's option number two. Then there's option number three. Okay. How long are you going to hold on to that story? Okay.
Yeah. Brad's mentioning that because that's something I talk about in some of my training, is that
often
we hold on. And so the question you have to internally ask is, how long am I going to hold on to that story?
Yes. And you could be involved with a caregiver, a practitioner who has an unconscious motive to keep you stuck into that story. Because as long as I keep you stuck in that story, Chaz, you're going to have to keep coming to me to keep playing it. Oh, and then I keep validating you, and you get that hit of dopamine, oxytocin, and nobody's actually healed it. Healing happens when you integrate the child mind and the adult mind, the emotional brain, your limbic system, all of your body, where all of your implicit memories lie. People say, I don't remember childhood. I know you don't. Your childhood is remembered every time you get triggered. Your abandonment wound will show up. Your husband decides, or a wife decides, to leave for the weekend, and all of a sudden you feel abandoned and alone. Well, that's not what's going on now. That's entirely your primary attachment wounds. And so I'm not here to keep you victimized. We're here to option number 3, acknowledge them. This is what this is the thing that I've dedicated my life to. Acknowledge them. I acknowledge that when I was 2 years old, my parents were emigrating to Canada. So I have a twin brother. They only had room for my mom to bring to Canada to explore immigrating, because we had to leave the country. And so for 3 months, when I was 2 years old, for 3 months, I was without my twin brother and my mother. And I didn't remember it. I didn't have any cognitive memory. It would just show up by the women I chose in my relationships. I would be with women who I was kind of like, let me know if you can resonate with this. I would choose women that I knew would never leave me. There was a huge power dynamic shift. And so I chose women that I felt were lesser than, so that, because if I chose somebody that I was really in love with, that I was really like deeply, like I could invest myself in, then I would worry that they would abandon me. So purposely, unconsciously, by the way, unconsciously, I would choose that different type that I never had to worry about that. It was toxic as all hell. I had to go through a divorce and then one failed relationship after another for me to wake up and go, wait, I've done all of the cognitive stuff. Oh, this is in my body. This abandonment wound is in my body. I need to actually reconnect and integrate. And this is not for a therapist to do. This is not the work of a therapist to do. This is not the work of a counselor to do. This is my work to do. No one can do it for me. Here's the shift. This is the key. You must turn, instead of looking for the hero on your journey, you must become the hero and find guides along your path.
That's what I love, because when we talk business, like when we talk business tactics and so forth, one of the things we'll say similarly is no one's coming to save you. And I think often people go look at, there's definitely good that the counselors can help you self-discover some things, but at the end of the day, you have to do the work.
That's the child mind wanting someone to save you. See what I'm saying? The best counselors, and Melissa says not all counselors do this. You're absolutely right. The best counselors, the best psychotherapists enable and learn, don't enable the person in their story. They give them tools. They give them tools to be able to be their own heroes. They give them tools, right? And I got a message from I want to share. I would love to share. I just got one literally this morning. The best counselors, therapists, whatever. If you can find one, great. Doesn't matter what's hanging on their shingles, what degree. Don't get stuck on that. It's somebody that can give you the tools to self-heal. Yes, of course, that will involve some type of mentoring sometimes, but get out of the notion that you have a problem. The more longer that I can diagnose you with something, saying you have a disorder and you need this, that's about the counselor's ego. Yeah. It takes a very evolved counselor and psychotherapist to say, look, I want to teach you not to need me. You know what I mean? Yes, I want to teach you how to not need me. This is very threatening. What I'm saying, I get lambasted by psychotherapists because I'm a chiropractor teaching this stuff. This is quite insulting to them. And I'm making the suggestion that you are responsible. You are the one that can become the hero. And so this is very difficult for a lot of people, to get. So I wanted to share the ones with the labels. I wanted to share what I just got from one of my clients at one of my workshops that just came. I just got this message from her today. Her name's Yanni, and she came to 2 of my weekend workshops where I basically help her heal, help you go inside and heal that relationship with yourself, giving you the tools. In the first one she brought in, her husband was struggling with suicidal thoughts, suicidal depression. She dragged him in. He had a massive transformation. We had him heal with his father, because it's when you go and heal that younger part of you, you then heal with the monster mother or father that you've hated on for so long. After that, he reestablished a connection with his his father that he hadn't spoken to in 4 years. And they're like best friends now. So that healed him. The second time she came back, because I go to Australia twice a year, she worked on her relationship with her 15-year-old daughter. She was really triggered by that. So in the workshops, we teach you how to take your trigger in a community, and I teach you how to go inside and heal your own trigger by going inside, not having somebody do it for you, but go inside and do it yourself. So this is what she wrote me. Hey, Nima, just wanted to reach out and share how I'm going. She's from Australia. How are you going, mate?
Yes,
say that. Although you sometimes say for people not to expect a weekend workshop to change their life, for me personally, your weekend workshop has changed my life. The first one was all about Dusty, and the second one was all about me. And since the second workshop, I feel so content with myself. Obviously, I have moments of discontent and frustration, but that's just it. They're only brief moments now.
Wow.
Not hours, not days, not weeks, just moments. For the most part, I'm content and my thoughts are so purposeful, and I'm setting intentions and making goals. I recently reached my network marketing, a promotion in my network marketing business. Finally, it's a promotion that a lot of women achieve in the first 30 days, and it's taken me 12 months. And you know what? I'm 100% okay with that. And it's part of my story now and part of my journey. And this morning, I was on a training where we did a mission statement to get clarity on our top 3 goals. And I got it done in minutes. I was done. I feel so on purpose and inspired to better myself every day. I'm in love with the quote, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday. By the way, I'm not highly triggered by my 15-year-old daughter, Aaliyah. Again, I have moments that are very brief. And now when my 15-year-old self comes out, but I actually allow my playful 15-year-old self to come out sometimes around my teenage daughter, and she laughs at me, and it's kind of funny. So she went on.
I just wanted to say,
but here's the key. If you can teach, what's the thing? Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Your best bet is to find guides on this path, not heroes. You are the hero. You are the hero. Do not stop looking for heroes outside of you.
Dr. Nima, this has been powerful. Guys, a lot of, Melissa asked, what chiropractic school did you go to?
I went to Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College.
Lots of questions coming in. I think the primary thing is, you've got the Facebook group you can connect to Dr. Nima with, and is that the best place to follow you and connect with you? Is that Facebook group?
Facebook group, Trigger Proof. Just go ahead and I do a live training every day, almost every day, in between clients and all that stuff. You can reach out to me on Facebook. It's Nima Rahmany. It's there. I'm easy to find. Instagram at Dr. Nima. As far as the question there is, who do you have in Illinois I can connect with, does work like you? We do it international. It's not local. It's international. Everything's done virtual. Everything's done online. So we see people from all over the world.
Yeah, it's powerful. Melissa said, cool. I went to Life University.
Beautiful, Melissa. Yeah. I've been there too.
Ken says, yes, the greatest counselor is inside.
Yeah. Here's the net result of the work. Okay. Mm-hmm. Every time you have a problem, the answer is inside of you. We keep looking outside. What I've discovered, and this is what the overview method is a tool that helps you quiet the mind. It's an active form of meditation that's customized to your specific wounding, to your specific trauma, where you can go in and actually access that own inner voice inside of you. So that just right now, I was like, I wonder what I'm going to do. I'm writing a book, and the person who is helping me edit, I don't know what I'm going to do. She got busy and she had to, abort ship. And that's quite frustrating, and that's quite triggering. And I was able to go inside and come up with the exact answer, like the elegant solution. The answer is inside of you. But the thing is we keep looking outside, and nobody that I know has a specific methodology that helps you go from trigger to going inside and finding the solution for you for this issue, like within a matter of minutes, using neuroscience.
Is that the book you're writing?
I'm writing a book about that. And so I'm writing a book about that, but I had to actually literally use the tool in order to come up with the solution right after. It was like, oh my God, I came out of the meditation. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to put up a thing on Fiverr with a specific person that I want to basically take all of my videos and transcribe them and edit them. And I found the best way to audition the right people. And all of this, I'm like excited about the process now. And now I probably, out of that, have found a new content repurpose distributor, assistant, virtual assistant, like all of that. So in other words, the trigger or the challenge actually becomes the like big bang of a brand new, like exciting opportunity, you know, instead of being something that throws you down. That's the method.
You should connect with Melissa in Atlanta. She does a service called Retrain the Brain, and she works with vets, and it's just a really, really powerful process that she does. You guys would be great synergistic partners. I'm sure
that her methodology works amazing to get into body-based somatic healing. It's an amazing practice, 100%.
Yeah. Dr. Nima, we've been blessed today with this message. You've been amazing. Lots of great feedback. Guys, if you know somebody that needs to hear this message, please make sure you tag them and share this. Remember, it'll come out on all the platforms on Wednesday. The team will have it repurposed and out on all the podcast platforms on Wednesday. So make sure you share that, subscribe to it. Follow Dr. Nima on the Facebook group. Again, the Trigger Proof. Yes, sorry, I see several comments here. Trigger Proof. And guys, remember, every Monday, noon Central, I'll bring successful entrepreneurs like Dr. Nima who are going to share insightful truths and wisdom to everyone that's listening to this message. So make sure you share, make sure you follow, make sure you get notified. So when the next episode of Connect, Share, Prosper comes out, you get notified. Guys, thank you as always. Dr. Nima, thank you for being with us today and being on this episode. And when your book is published, come back. Let's get you on the show and talk about the book. How about that?
I'm so down.
All right. Appreciate that. Guys, we will see you next Monday, noon Central. Till then, be well.
Stop hoping for your business to grow and start mastering the formula for success that every entrepreneur needs to grow their business. Join us for 5+1 Mastery, where every week we go in depth on how to grow your business the right way. Learn more at 5+1mastery.com.